Disney Princess Film History, Moana. This 2016 film features the first Disney animation studio princess that is not based on a character from a fairy tale, legend, or real life. In fact, Moana is a completely new invention. Her story, though, is inspired by one of the greatest human adventure stories of all time. The colonization of Pacific Islands began thousands of years ago. People using Stone Age technology built voyaging canoes capable of travelling thousands of miles, then set forth against the winds and currents to find tiny dots of land in the midst of the largest ocean on Earth. And having found them, they travelled back and forth again and again to settle them. But one huge mystery, sometimes called the Long Pause, leaves a gaping hole in the voyaging timeline. Western Polynesia, the islands closest to Australia and New Guinea, were colonised around 3,500 years ago, but the islands of central and eastern Polynesia were not settled until 1,500 to 500 years ago. This means that after arriving in Fiji, Samoa and Tonga, Polynesians took a break for almost 2,000 years before voyaging forth again. Then when they did start again, within a century or so, Polynesians discovered and settled nearly every inhabitable island in the central and eastern Pacific. Nobody knows the reason for the long pause, or why the Polynesians started voyaging again. Several theories have been proposed, from a favourable wind caused by a sustained period of El Nino, to visible supernovas luring the stargazer, to poisoning caused by algae blooms. The Polynesians encountered nearly every island within the vast Polynesian Triangle using outrigger canoes or double-hulled canoes. The double-hulled canoes were two large hulls equal in length and lashed side by side. The space between the paralleled canoes allowed food, hunting materials, and nets when embarking on long voyages. A navigator has to be constantly aware of their surroundings, and they have to memorize where they have sailed from in order to know where they are. The sun was the main guide for navigators because they could follow its exact points as it rose and set. At night, they would switch to using the rising and setting points of the stars. When there are no stars because of a cloudy night or during midday, a navigator would use the winds and swells of waves to guide them. Through constant observation, navigators were able to detect changes in the speed of their canoes and their heading. It is also believed that Polynesians, like many seafaring peoples, kept shore-sighting birds. One theory is that voyagers took a frigate bird, fragata, with them. This bird's feathers became drenched and useless if it lands in the water, so voyagers would release it when they thought they were close to land, and would follow it if it did not return to the canoe. In 2011, Muska began reading up on Polynesian mythology and learned of the heroic exploits of the demigod Maui. Intrigued with the rich culture of Polynesia, Muska and Clements wrote a treatment and pitched it to John Lasseter, who recommended that both of them should go on research trips to Fiji, Samoa and Tahiti to meet the people of the South Pacific Ocean and learn about their culture. Over the 5 years it took to develop and produce the film, Clements and Muska recruited experts from across the South Pacific to form an oceanic story trust who consulted on the film's cultural accuracy and sensitivity as the story evolved through 9 versions. The group consisted of anthropologists, cultural practitioners, historians, linguists, and choreographers. The trust served as consultants for the filmmakers and played a major role in developing every aspect of the movie. A program called Quicksilver was developed for Moana with an unprecedented purpose in mind, creating more realistic human hair with enough weight and fine detail that characters' fingers can run through it. After the filmmakers sat through auditions of hundreds of candidates from across the Pacific, 14-year-old high school freshman auli'i was cast as the lead character Moana. During animation production, Disney animators were able to integrate some of Carvalho's mannerisms into Moana's behaviour, as depicted on screen. The film's soundtrack was written by Fawi, Marcina and Miranda. The lyrics are in English, Samoan and the Tokoloan language. The film's world premiere was held at the El Capitan Theatre in Los Angeles on November 14, 2016, and grossed a worldwide total of $690 million. Christy Lemire of RogerEbert.com gave the film 3.5 out of 4 stars, stating that Moana would have been enormously entertaining regardless of when it came out. The film takes place 2,000 years ago, in the 1st century AD, when the Wayfinders were beginning to explore the islands further east. The islands of Tonga and Samoa would have been settled during Moana's time, and could have influenced the culture of the fictional Motunui. All of Moana's outfits are made only from materials that would have been available to her island. For her regular outfit, she wears a crop top made out of red tapa with a layered style accessorized with seashells. She wears a red sash made from the same material that wraps around her skirt, made out of shredded pandanus and layered tapa. Inspired by the tulaga ceremonies of Samoa, her toga, or headdress, has shells from the ocean and red feathers to symbolize royalty. The final outfit Moana wears in the film is her Voyager dress in the film's epilogue. The dress is made out of fresh leaves and plants in contrast to her previous outfits, which were all made out of dried materials. Moana's top is made out of bright red leaves to symbolize her new role of chief of Motunui. Her belt is made out of red tapa with a panel of green leaves cascading down the laid skirt made out of shredded pandanus. There are almost no surviving depictions of humans in ancient Polynesian art, so the closest we can come to an authentic portrayal of Moana's clothing is in the early drawings of pre-contact fashion soon after European discovery. Western Polynesians at this time wore sarongs made of bark cloth, a paper-like material that was crafted from the pulp of the mulberry tree. Tattoos have always been important to Polynesian culture, and a high-ranking person like Moana would likely have them even though she didn't in the movie. Women were mainly tattooed on their shoulders, arms and chests. In many European countries, the name of the titular character Moana was changed to Vaiana due to a trademark conflict. In Italy, the film was released with the title Oceana. Early drafts included 9 brothers for Moana, and Moana's father as the one who wanted to resume navigation. The film was the first motion picture to be fully dubbed in the Tahitian language. The Tahitian dubbing was made available in schools and institutions. In June 2017, a Maui language dubbing of the movie was announced, premiering in Auckland on September 11th, with 30 theatres screening it for free as part of Maui Language Week. Moana currently makes meet and greet appearances at the Disneyland Park in Adventureland. Moana began making appearances at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort prior to the film's release. She later became available for meet and greets at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Moana is sea-loving, strong-willed, fearless, and physically capable. Though she has moments of self-doubt, she has great pride in who she is, and is generally too stubborn to back away from new challenges. She can present herself as an imposing force despite her size, and has bested the most fearsome beasts and impossible obstacles across the sea while relying almost solely on her own intelligence. And now we have reached the end of the Disney Princess film history series. From the classic fairy tales that inspired Walt Disney and made his own dreams come true, to the modernizing reinterpretations of what makes a princess, each official Disney princess from the animation studios has her unique story and message. And it doesn't end here. The Disney Animation Studios are working on a new film scheduled for release in 2021, named Raya and the Last Dragon, which will feature Raya, a lone warrior who sets out to find the last dragon in existence, and will be set in the fictional kingdom of Kumandra, inspired by Southeast Asian cultures. I have really enjoyed making these videos and plan to make more like these. If you have any requests for other animated films or characters, please comment below. Is Moana your favourite Disney princess? Is there anything new that you learned about her film? Please like, comment and subscribe for more related Disney videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back soon with more Disney content.